everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode. Today we're going to be talking about drop bags for ultramarathons. Now, if you don't know what a drop bag is, it's basically a bag that the volunteers or the race crew actually brings to certain aid stations where you can put in food, gear, nutrition, whatever it may be, extra batteries, motivational little toys or whatever you might want to put in these drop bags. You can put them in there, and when you get to that actual aid station, your crew will actually get it to you, or if you're a solo runner, you can run and grab it. Sometimes the volunteers will go and grab it for you, but it is just your resupply kit that you bring specifically for yourself. So this allows people like myself, I'm going to be running the Vermont 100 solo, so I won't have a crew, I won't have a pacer. This allows me to have the things that I like to have during these 100 milers. If you can't tell by the bags under my eyes look like freaking buttholes. I'm so tired. I've been working on these drop bags for about 2 days straight, just laying everything out over and over again. It kind of goes back to my time in Ranger Regiment, where before deployments, you just kind of lay everything out over and over again. Make sure you have everything on list. You have a packing list, and you go down and you check it, and then freaking people come over and then they check it. And if you don't have anything, you get your freaking ass smoked. And then you just check it and check it and check it. So my crew that I had set up, they dropped out. They weren't able to actually make it. And then we were kind of scrambling around to see if I could get another crew. But at a certain point, I just kind of called it quits and said that I was going to do it solo. So since that point, I've been kind of freaking stressing out and making sure that I have everything that I need for the Vermont 100, and double checking, because you don't want to be at mile 70 and think you're going to be getting something or getting your nutrition that you're used to, and then your bag's just not there, or you're ill prepared and you don't have what you actually need. You forget to throw in some Tailwind, and then you're just stuck with whatever they have on course. Now, you can make it work. I've trained with a bunch of different stuff, but if you're really expecting something and it's not there, it is kind of a downer. So might as well try to knock that out as much as possible and be extra prepared and do your layouts and do your double checking. So let's jump right into it. Let's jump into the actual drop bags and what I prepared for the Vermont 100. The Vermont 100 allows you to have 8 total drop bags. 2 of the drop bags you're actually going to be hitting twice. So you do a 20-mile loop. At mile 50, you hit this Camp 10 Bear, and then you do the big loop. And then around mile 70, you hit Camp 10 Bear once again around mile 70. So the drop bags that I usually use are these big green ones. They're like 5 to 10 liter roll up, fully waterproof. These are awesome because you can roll them up to the size you want, and then you just clip it and it's fully waterproof. They can be as big as this, they can be 1 liter, or they can go all the way up to 10 liter, which is really nice. And they're going to be 100% waterproof. The Vermont 100 is pretty strict on the actual size of the drop bag that you can have. They require them to be 9 by 9 by 16. So I went online and I was trying to figure out what drop bags I could actually use. And I ended up finding these shoe bags, which actually are perfect. They're waterproof. I don't think they're actually waterproof. It just says they are. They're cheap Amazon things, so I'm saying they're water resistant. And then I have everything that I need to keep dry in Ziploc bags, just for an extra layer of protection. On the outside, I always mark them. I always put a strip of really bright duct tape. So I use this neon like yellow and this neon green, just so when they're laid out at the actual aid station, I can easily identify which bag is mine, or I can tell the actual volunteers who are going to grab it for me exactly what to be looking for. Clear bag, neon yellow, neon green, a bunch of words written on it. And, this is going to stand out pretty quickly from the other types of drop bags that people are actually using. So what they'll have, or what they usually require, is what aid station that drop bag is coming on, and then your name, and then the bib. What I also like to put on these drop bags, especially because I'm running the solo, is how many miles it's going to be until the next drop bag. So from Camp 10 Bear number 2, around mile 70, it's going to be 7.1 miles until I hit Spirit of 76, that aid station. And then from Spirit of 76, it's going to be 11.7 until the next aid station. Not the next aid station, but the next access to another drop bag. So I know exactly how much food and nutrition I have to grab from this drop bag until I get to this next one, if that makes any sense. I don't know if I explained that properly, but it does work. So for the drop bags, I always try to strategically place certain gear and certain food based on the time, based on what the temperature is supposed to be at that moment, and based on what the actual course is going to be looking like. So for the mid-state massive, I had just nutrition all the way up until mile 45. And then at mile 45, I had a big drop bag with a change of shoes so I can go into my trail shoes and my hiking poles, because it went from pavement to actual single track mountain climbing trails. So you strategically place what gear you actually want at that time. For the Vermont 100, it's all going to be basically on dirt road or runnable actual tracks. But the big thing about the Vermont 100 is heat. So I strategically place gear based on how hot it's going to be during the day and when I actually need to eat. So for this Camp 10 Bear number 2, this is going to be around mile 70. So I made sure that I had a lot of food. So I made sure that I had a lot of food, and this is going to be also around maybe 15 hours, 14 hours, based on how fast I'm actually running. So I did put some notes on my drop bag just so when I'm in my delirious state or if I'm getting overworked, I'll have those notes and make sure that I do what I actually needed to do with the drop bag. So at mile 70, I did want to eat an actual meal or eat a substantial amount of actual hard food or real food. So I put, eat a meal, you fool. I have a battery pack in there to make sure that I remind myself to recharge my batteries. And I have some Flonase, and I do have really bad allergies sometimes. So I made sure that I put a note to hit that nose with that Flonase. It might actually start getting dark around mile 70. So I wanted to make sure that I had extra change of clothes just in case if my clothes that I'm wearing aren't warm enough and it starts getting cold, or if it was raining or anything like that. I wanted to make sure that I had a change of clothes. So in here, I had a regular t-shirt, some longer shorts, and then I have my windbreaker. This is a heavier windbreaker. That's actually pretty dope. It has a Mandalorian skull on it and everything like that. It's oversized, so I can throw it right on top of my actual gear if I really need to get it on really quick. So I have a windbreaker and an extra change of clothes and some socks. If it is still pretty nice or it's still sunny out, I might just change my socks around that mile 70. But basically, I should be good to go as long as the weather stays how it has been for the past week or so. I usually don't change my clothes during these 100 milers or during these ultra marathons. You know, you're going to get dirty no matter what. You're already disgusting and sweaty and nasty, so I'd rather just drench myself with some water and try to clean myself off that way. Changing the socks is nice every once in a while. It kind of perks you up. So let's get back into the drop bags. For food, what I have is, once again, I have this extra layer of protection just in case it is raining or anything like that. I have 4 bags of sports nutrition drink, 2 bags of Tailwind, and then 2 bags of this EFS-PRO. I'm going to try it out for this first time for an actual 100 miler. So we'll see how that actually works out. Not trying anything new, but trying it out for the first time on an actual race. What I also have is a 5-hour energy, just in case I'm starting to get tired. Once again, it's going to be at mile 70, so we're going to have a lot of time on feet. I have these Clif Bloks. The Clif Bloks are 200 calories per pack. I like to eat half every hour. So I get 100 calories with the Clif Blok, and with the Tailwind or with the EFS-PRO, I'll get 300 calories total with this. And then I will also supplement depending on how my stomach's feeling these honey stinger waffles. Usually if my stomach starts getting sour or acidic, I like to switch over to these honey stinger waffles just because they're a little bit more like real food and my body can digest them a little bit easier. It's not like an instant hit with these Clif Bloks. Sometimes they'll start making my stomach a little bit acidy and they want to come up. So a nice change is in order sometimes with these honey stinger waffles. The pills that I have some Tylenol just in case. I got some some Tums and antacid. Those really help me when my stomach starts turning on me. I use Tylenol and Tums really rarely, only if I absolutely need them, but I'll try to hold off as much as possible with the Tylenol and the Tums. These are salt tabs, so if I need extra salt, I'll pop 2 of these every hour. And then, especially, I usually don't have these in my drop bag, but for this solo race, I wanted to make sure that I had some alternatives. So I have tortillas and bagels to replace the Clif Bloks. These are 270 calories, and this is 220 calories each bagel and each tortilla. So it's a lot of calories, a lot of white refined carbs. These absolutely saved my life on the Mid-State Massive. My stomach turned absolutely freaking sour at about mile 60 or mile 70. And I could not take in any more of these Clif Bloks. So I switched all my nutrition to potato chips and white bagels, and it absolutely saved me. I felt so much better. So I'm starting to prepare for that stomach turning and making sure that I have some white refined carbs in my drop bags, or try to find them in aid station for potato chips and everything like that, so I can switch out my nutrition if needed. Once again, as you remember, on the outside of my bag is I wanted to have a meal. So what I got are these instant rice packets. You just pour water in them, and then 15 minutes later you'll have instant rice, and you can eat it cold and it's absolutely fine. I tested these out on a couple runs, and I tested these out so they never made me sick or anything like that. And I have pre-cooked bacon, so I'll probably do both of these, throw them in my pack, let them absorb, and then I'll just shove them in my face. This is about 400 calories of real food that I can throw into my stomach if I need an actual meal and I need some actual real food, a real bulky food for during that run. So yeah, that's going to be my meal on course if I can actually remember it, or if I don't actually just fill up on the bagels and the tortillas, because that is actually pretty filling in themselves, where I might not actually need a meal on course. Additionally, on all these drop bags, I'll have these 3 things. I'll have booty wipes just in case I need to take an on-trail dump or hit the porta potties or whatever it may be. I have a baggie of Sun Tan Lotion. This is in each of the bags, or the first 5 bags, just because it's going to be super hot out. So I want to make sure that I'm actually keeping myself nice and lubed up so I don't get burnt to hell. And then I have nut squirrel butter. So I had a little jar of nut squirrel butter, and I didn't want to buy, 8 separate bars of nut squirrel butter. So I just took a spoon, dumped some out, and when I need to apply it, I'll stick my fingers in here and swipe that credit card up that crack of that ass and be nice and lubed up, so I'm not all chafed up at the end of it. Chafing freaking sucks. So I'm going to make sure that I'm using this pretty much every other aid station, or as much as I need it. That's basically everything that I have in the drop bags. I also have some pick-me-ups if I need it. I have the Red Bull, of course. I don't know what it is, but it seems like YouTube and social media hate Red Bull, but I freaking love Red Bull. It's 160 calories. You get 38 grams of you get 41 grams of carbs, and you can just throw this down, have a lot of caffeine in your system, 114 milligrams of caffeine, some sugar. It's basically like Coke. It's basically like Coca-Cola on crack. So it's old school Coca-Cola, if you know what I mean. And then once again, I have the Flonase. So I'm going to be hitting that just so my allergies don't start flaring up. So yeah, that's basic. Oh, so one other thing, I do have my headlamp. So I have a shitty headlamp that I'm going to be throwing in this mile 70 bag. Hopefully I can get there. Hopefully I can get past this aid station before I actually need this headlamp. So I put in a little bit crappier headlamp than I usually use in this Camp 10 Bear number 2 with an extra set of batteries just in case something happens on the trail and I get lost, or it's taking way too long to go 7 miles, where I'll have my better headlamp in the Spirit of 76 where I'll absolutely need a headlamp. So that's exactly what I'll have in my drop bags at these aid stations. I mean, the gear is going to change a little bit depending on what aid station and what time of day I'm actually going to be hitting these aid stations. In the very first one, I'm going to have a change of shoes just in case in these bags, because the first aid station that you actually hit is 20 miles from the start. So I just wanted to make sure if anything crazy happens in the very beginning, I can change my shoes, or if my freaking heels pop off or something crazy happens, I'll have a change of shoes. And then I will also have at the first Camp 10 Bear another change of shoes just in case at the Camp 10 Bear that I can actually access on number 1 and number 2, which are the Rivera 2s. And I know absolutely I can run at least 50 miles in these shoes because I've done it before. For the Manchester to Monadnock 55 miler, I ran the whole thing, or 45 miles of it, in the Rivera 2. So I know I can make it at least 50 miles in the Rivera 2. So I put these strategically at mile 50 and mile 70 if I do need to change my shoes from the Vanish tempo, from the Ultra Vanish tempos. I think the biggest thing about running ultramarathons solo or relying on these drop bags is doing your prep work and being realistic on how you're actually going to be running. Now, some of these aid stations I'm going to probably be running a lot faster, and some of them I'm going to be running a lot slower. So I always make sure that I have more than I need in these drop bags. I don't want to bring the very bare minimum just in case something happens or you're accidentally screwed and you don't have the nutrition that you need, and then you can't really take in the nutrition that they have in the aid station, and then you're going to have to drop out. So might as well over prepare, overthink, stuff these bags to the freaking absolute limit. Look at this thing. It's absolutely stuffed. So might as well just over prepare, have everything that you would have if you actually had a crew in these bags, then be out there and be absolutely sucking and just freaking have to drop out or get a DNF because you're ill prepared and you didn't have what you needed. So there's everything that I'm going to have in my drop bags for the Vermont 100 as a solo runner. Make sure that you're going out there chipping away. If you're going for a big mission, if you're going for something, even if you want to do something simple, make sure you research it, make sure you're well prepared. Preparation is absolute everything. If you want to be successful in a mission, you have to prepare, you have to research, and you have to put in the work. So put in the fucking work, prepare, do layouts, do everything you can to set yourself up for success. There is power in spontaneity, but that doesn't mean that you can't prepare, you can't research, you can't be absolutely 100% geared up and ready for any situation and be able to adapt on course, on mission, whatever it may be. Be prepared, chip away, become an average savage, earn that comfort, and fucking seek pain. Let's go out there. Let's crush this Vermont 100, crush your missions, crush whatever you're fucking working on. Get out there and let's crush it. Let's go.